As I conclude my term as the 45th President of the United States, I stand before you truly proud of what we have achieved together. I will be the greatest president for many, 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 many years to come. We did what we came here to do, and so much more.
I don't think they like me very much.
This week, we inaugurate a new administration and pray for its success in keeping America safe and prosperous.
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said.
We extend our best wishes. We have losers. We have losers. We have people that don't have it. We have people that are morally corrupt. We have people that are selling this country down the drain. And we also want them to have luck, a very important word. I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China.
I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
All Americans were horrified by the assault on our capital. Political violence is an attack on everything we cherish as Americans. It can never be tolerated. Now more than ever, we must unify around our shared values and rise above the partisan rancor and forge our common destiny. We slash more job-killing regulations than any administration had ever done before. We and the whole world got hit with the China virus. Our trade relationship was rapidly changing. Billions and billions of dollars were pouring into the U.S., but the virus forced us to go in a different direction.
We watched as the bombs shattered the second comet into a million pieces of ice and rock that burned harmlessly in our atmosphere and lit up the sky for an hour.
The whole world suffered, but America outperformed other countries economically because of our incredible economy and the economy that we built. Powered by these policies, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We reignited America's job creation and achieved record-low unemployment for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women, almost everyone. Income soared, wages boomed, the American dream was restored, and millions were lifted from poverty in just a few short years. It was a miracle. For years, the American people pleaded with Washington to finally secure the nation's borders. I am pleased to say we answered that plea and achieved the most secure border in U.S. history, along with more than 450 miles of powerful new wall. I go from this majestic place with a loyal and joyful heart, an optimistic spirit, and a supreme confidence that for our country and for our children, the best is yet to come. Thank you and farewell. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
So yes, here we are. It's strange to believe that it's another year, and still we're here. Brass Monkeez 2021!
Hurrah.
Yes, this is Brass Monkeez 2021, new, improved, and coming at you like a hurricane. If you want to get in touch with us, I'm reliably informed that we have a number of ways of doing it, but I can't remember them because being a monkey of a certain age, my memory is starting to let me go. So I'm going to invite the wise one, otherwise known as Cuddles, to give you an indication of how to get in touch with us here at Brass Monkeez.
Brassmonkeez.org. We're official. We're an org. What we're doing with it, you really don't want to know. Well, go and have a look and then throw up your hands in despair. Oh shit, I don't know. What are we on Twitter? I knew this would happen. I'm going to have to... Let me have a look.
Try Brass Monkeez.
Brass Monkeez, yes. Where are we? But it's the actual thing. What are we? are
Monkeez.
at Brass Monkeez. Yes. Okay. I'll try again. Right.
Leave it in.
No. It sounds
Mike's
awful.
girlfriend used to say.
Which reminds me of a joke, but I won't make that.
Thanks, Cuddles. There is actually naff all to look at on the website, but we do promise you we are making serious efforts to come up with some ideas to put on it. Watch this space. Welcome back, Cuddles. Welcome back, Bingo, you COVID-laced individual.
Sorry. That's 10 days off for you both.
Ah, love a bit of time to put me old arms and legs up in a tree. Take it easy. Anyway, seriously speaking, welcome back, listeners, faithful listeners to Brass Monkeez. Sorry it's been a little bit of a while, but we were quite frankly exhausted by all of the goings-on planet Earth. But we have had a bit of an opportunity to regroup and revitalise ourselves with a bit of rest and recuperation. And how many more words beginning with R can we think of? Love to have you along for the ride. Really wanted to touch on how everybody's been over the last few weeks because, as we said, as you've probably picked up, Bingo did catch the dreaded lurgy. Fortunately, he's made it through the other side, but everything that he's seen of COVID has convinced him that it does actually exist. Which seems to be contrary still to a certain part of the population of this planet.
And I think it exists more than we realise. I am very, very, very fortunate that my employer has thrown a lot of money into COVID testing. Possibly something to do with a dodgy contract, I don't know. But
Get in there!
They're very insistent on testing. Let's have lots of tests. And do you want another test? We give you a test every day if you want. So I tested on December the 20th, and I was COVID negative. And on the Monday, I had a little scratchy throat. And I was like, oh, quick, is this the symptoms? No, nothing on there about scratchy throat. Okay, fine. By the Wednesday, the 23rd of December, I had a runny nose, and I was feeling like I had a bit of a head cold, but I could still taste and smell stuff. I didn't have a temperature. I was positively freezing. I didn't have I didn't have a cough. So I said to my employer, look, I've got a cold, but can I just make sure this is a cold? Yeah, have as many tests as you want. Take 2. Treat yourself. So there I was, Christmas Eve, thinking, I could go and do my shopping, and oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I can't do that either. Right, I'll just sit at home and wait for Christmas to be over. And then I got the dreaded message of doom saying you are COVID positive.
So your tests, obviously you're getting tested like really regularly. What did you do when you took your test? Did it get collected, or did you have to go somewhere to have it done, or what?
The company I work for is they've invested in kind of you do it and you send it away things, and they get bussed off every day. So you get your results back with just over 24 hours ish. By the time it gets to the company that, and I won't give too much away just in case anyone's listening who can identify me from this. But yeah, so Sunday when I took the first one, I was definitely negative. But by the Wednesday, I was positive. And the plus point of the test that I had was it gives you a value of how infectious you are.
Oh, really?
So,
that's
yeah, really. I've learned so much about this over the last couple of weeks. It's fascinating stuff. So the NHS ones, they don't. They just say, you've got COVID, you better stay at home. But this is a private test, so it gives you a value of how infectious you are. And on 23rd of December, I was oozing COVID all over the shop.
Wow.
Absolutely everywhere. My viral load was under 20, which
so 3
New
days.
Scientist... In
3
3
days.
days,
Okay.
which is terrifying. NewScientist.com says anything under 20 predicts you're going to have very, very serious COVID infection.
Right.
I think I got away with it. And God knows who I infected entirely innocently through thinking I had a cold. But going through the NHS website, they wouldn't send me a test. I didn't have any of the symptoms of COVID until Boxing Day when I lost my taste and smell, and then the cough started and the breathing was a little bit more difficult. By which point, I imagine my viral load had just been everywhere, and it shouldn't be that hard to lay your hands on a COVID test. It really shouldn't.
That is extraordinary, isn't it? So you couldn't get a test on the NHS because, according to them, you didn't have the correct symptoms.
Correct.
But only because your employer is doing beyond regular testing, and you felt a little bit, I'm a bit under the weather, and you turn out to have it. And not only to have it, but to have it with a high viral loading. I find that, well, that actually, just that little anecdote tells you so much about what is going on, not only in this country, but probably around the world, in terms of how many people are getting infected and don't even know.
And this is it. I mean, I've only tested COVID negative this week. So regular testing carries on. After 10 days, you come out of isolation. The science being you probably aren't spreading it around everywhere anymore. And the numbers that I was getting back from my test would suggest that it was just what they call viral debris in the back of my throat.
That's good. But Cuddles, can you just grab that jug over there, please, in the corner? Could you just tip it over the top of Bingo, just to make sure he's completely disinfected?
Hold on a minute. Yeah, I'll go and get the fire hose. Hang on a second.
All right, so it's a bit of Jay's fluid, this Bingo. It won't do you any harm. It's used for swilling down pig yards and stuff like that. Great stuff. You'll love the smell.
There, that's better, isn't it? Now, go and wipe yourself off.
Yeah, you're listening to Brass Monkeez. It's the 2021 edition. More of the same inane ramblings from three monkeys. I'm Clyde, that's Cuddles, and he's Bingo. And we're still going on about COVID, because actually the reality is it's affecting every aspect of everybody's lives every day, and it ain't going away any day soon. And it's with that in mind that I realised that it had been a year since I'd been to the dentist. I went to the dentist a couple of weeks ago, braved my way to go and sit in the chair while some person gazed into the abyss that is my mouth, and he said, "You're going to need a scale and a polish." And I was like, "Oh God!" And there's two things about a scale and a polish: one, they're expensive; two, they're uncomfortable; and three, the three is the new one. Is like, I don't really want to be sat in this environment with some lurgy floating around. But he was really good, and he assured me we've got all the PPE. But actually, all the PPE is for them, not for me. So that was a kind of a bit of a downer, but there you go. But then I realised it's going to be difficult for him to do any dentistry on me if I've got full PPE on my face. So I accepted that. Anyway, today, this very day that we are speaking, I went and sat in the dentist chair for my scale and polish. Well, I tell you what, seriously, I have never seen anything like it. A dentist is normally quite scary to look at when they've got the light above your head. You know, you're laid out horizontal, you've got no control anymore, you can feel your heart pumping away, you're desperately trying to clamp your jaws shut while he's desperately trying to prise them apart so he can get his implements in there. Are you with me on this? Because I tell you what, I'm reliving it. I'm really reliving this. But I tell you what, I'm looking up at that light, that big spotlight, and down bearing upon me is this figure with a visor on and some small goggly things on his eyeballs. And then I realised he looked like Dr. Nefario from Despicable Me. It was Dr. Nefario was about to put his implements in my mouth. God, it was traumatising.
I miss being evil. Sinister plots, large-scale crimes is what I live for.
But not as traumatising as paying for the bloody treatment afterwards. Anyway, leads me on to another thing. I looked at Nefario, the dentist, who looked like Nefario, and then I realised that, actually, Nefario reminded me of somebody else. If you've been following American politics, you might be familiar with the name Rudy Giuliani. Now, Rudy Giuliani actually had quite a high profile about 15, 20 years ago when he was mayor of New York. And it was a time when New York was a big, bad city, where if you weren't careful, you were going to end up in the gutter, literally. And he cleaned it up.
With a knife in your ribs.
He took all the villains out. He took the gangsters out. He made it the big apple that it is today. Latterly, he has been part of Trump's empire. And seriously, if there are situations where you sit there thinking, have I made a bad business decision here? I think right at this moment, Giuliani is probably thinking he's made a bad decision. Because it may or may not have escaped your knowledge, but Trump's been having a bit of an interesting time over in the US over the last few months since losing the election that was stolen from him, of course.
Oh, yes, he didn't lose it. It was taken from
Media
It
will
was
not
taken
show
from
the
him.
magnitude of this crowd. Even when I turned on today, I looked and I saw thousands of people here, but you don't see hundreds of thousands of people behind you because they don't want to show that. We have hundreds of thousands of people here, and I just want them to be recognized by the fake news media. Turn your cameras, please, and show what's really happening
Horrific
out
human
here.
being,
Because
allegedly their
these
leader.
people are not going
And
to take it any
Clyde, I
longer.
make you right.
They're
I mean,
not
how the
gonna take
hell
it any
does
longer.
Rudy Giuliani get caught up in all
Go
this?
ahead,
I've
turn
just
your
noticed
cameras,
today that
please, would you show
Trump is now
that came
refusing to
from
pay
all over the
Rudy
world,
Giuliani's
actually.
Yeah,
legal
it's 20
fees.
grand a
From
day
all over
fees.
our
Yeah, I know. It's like-
I think that answers your question, really, doesn't it? How does he get caught up in that 20 grand a day? How does he get caught up on that 20 grand a day? The penny drops. Yeah, but it does make you wonder, how does the man who was called, and it was referred to at that rally as the nation's mayor, which is the title he deservedly owned back 20 years ago, like you said, Clyde, when he was the mayor of New York, particularly, as we've said before on this show, as particularly at the time when 9/11 happened, he was the figurehead. He was the man there on the ground, covered in dust, going down there to see what was going on, and the world went, brilliant. This is somebody who's, got form, loves his city, cares about what's going on. He's the man on the ground in the absence of the president. He's his, appointed representative on Earth, quite literally, as Bush was flying sort of 30,000 feet above him in
Can
Air
I
Force
come
One.
down now? Can I
No.
come down?
No, just sit down, Mr. President. Have another iced tea. Thank you very much. He's gone from that to being this laughable man whose hair dye runs down the side of his face when under stress, and who's now, again, like everyone else Trump dispenses with, has been dispensed with because he hasn't come up with the goods, which just tells you everything you need to know about this vain, egomaniac nut job who is, thank being kicked
I'm
out
sorry.
of power.
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
By the time this is on the internet, hopefully Biden will be sat very safely in the White House, and Trump will just be a very distant memory. And hopefully he doesn't ever get the opportunity to get in there again.
I really genuinely believe that actually the US State Departments and forces will have seriously beefed up their security provision for the foreseeable future, because I think America has had a bit of a wake-up call. It's taken a long time, but I think the events of last week are maybe fortunate that they happened the way they did.
If history teaches us anything, it's that if the good times roll, the bad guys f*** off. So now is a collective goal for the world to make the world better. Don't allow any of the circumstances that brought Trump into power to ever arise again. We can do fuck all about recession, but the other stuff, the racism, the casual xenophobia, the stuff that allowed Brexit to exist, if we make that all fuck off, then we're in a good place. In Germany in the 30s, it was the Great Depression that pushed Hitler straight. He looked like a madman before the Great Depression. This was what he was prophesying. The second that happened, there he was in the front. As long as we don't allow Trump to have that ability to use that, as long as we make this world a better place, he can right off and never come back.
Bingo, have you ever thought of a career in politics?
You wouldn't pay me what I'm worth, I'm afraid.
Words of wisdom from Bingo on Brass Monkeez.
Wise words. Wise words, Pete.
Very true, very true. I have to
very
say,
true.
Sadly, I think we're going to talk about Trump for a long time yet, in one form or another.
Well, that's it. I mean, it'd be interesting to see where he pops back up in terms of social media, or in his case, anti-social media. Be interested to see where he crops back up. I mean, he's talking about starting his own, because he was abandoned by the people at Fox News, wasn't he? And
I thought you were going to say he was as abandoned as a baby, which might explain some of his behaviour.
If only he had been and just left for the carrion crows.
He's
We'd
a
all been
dumpster
spared.
baby.
No, I mean, he was talking, wasn't he, even before all this, when Fox News was deemed not to have supported him enough and basically called the election for Joe Biden. Obviously, they hadn't seen the script. Of doing his own media empire along the lines of Fox, but it would be Trump Trump news, which again conjures up all sorts of things with their brake bumpers. Trump news.
Oh, can we do a parody of that as well? Hang on,
Yeah.
let me just write down Trump news.
You know, Sky News have that swoosh noise.
Yeah.
On Trump news, it's
Brilliant. Love it. Love it. Actually, speaking of Trump, though, he wants the dialogue to always be on his terms. He wants the news agenda to always reflect him. I think we saw Trump for who he was a long, long time ago, but for a vast amount of the population on both sides of the Atlantic, they saw him as this successful businessman. I mean, he managed to persuade the TV execs that he was a successful businessman. They allowed him to head up The Apprentice, for God's sake. It reminded me of the fact that The Apprentice, they not only did they have their everyday normal folk on it, but they also did their celebrity editions. One of the American Apprentice series had our very own Piers Morgan on, who's been very vocal in the past about how wonderful Donald was, and he was a great guy and completely misunderstood. And in fact, it was only, I think, about a year ago that Piers Morgan had that sort of exclusive interview with Trump, didn't he? Mm-hmm. And yet now, according to Piers Morgan, Trump is a complete travesty who needs to be removed from power as quickly as possible. But at the same time, let's not have a witch hunt of all those people around him who happen to have supported him and encouraged him and sung his praises. Do you mean you, Piers Morgan, by any chance?
not sure who he could be referring to there.
I think, I'm sorry, but at this point I have to say Piers Morgan, cock.
Well, you say that. I mean, and I've never taken greater pleasure in reading. I mean, you know me, I love Viz, and there was a great...
Don't tell me. Cuddles, do not tell me at this point. You are about to start backing up Piers Morgan.
No, there was a great strip. Whenever I start feeling any sympathy for the man or start thinking, hang on a minute, he's talking sense here, I go back and read this strip. It was the science of kicking Piers Morgan in the bollocks. And it was
I'm
just...
up for that.
It was just one of the funniest things they've done in a very long time. But that's apropos of nothing. He has, of late, been screaming and shouting at the government and calling them out for what they are. And he has been sort of finally... saying what he probably always believed about Donald Trump. The problem is he's only saying it now, and it's only since Trump lost the election that he's going, come on, Donald, you've got to go now, and all this sort of thing. Oh, no, I never liked him. Oh, no. But he'll give you the old, well, you can change your views, and, I'm human. Yeah, just about.
Oh, no, you see, I'm afraid he's overcooked his... Well, let's not give him a goose. He's not that big. He's overcooked his duck. Rhymes with something else.
Yeah. I ate that duck.
I wish I could fly way up in the sky, but I can't.
No, you can't.
Anyway, there we go.
If you're a millennial like me and you've got no idea what's going on, stay tuned. Regular service will be resumed shortly.
I wish I could fly way up to the sky, but I can't.
You can.
I can't. I wish I could see what folks see in me, but I can't.
You can.
I can't.
Look, Orville,
Yes?
nothing that you can say will change how I feel today. I know that we'll never part. Now hear what I'm saying, Orville.
Yes?
Who is your very best friend?
I need to talk about Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Oh, God. Talk amongst yourselves.
Can we talk about something else?
Do it. Must we really?
Did you hear? Did you hear his clip?
Spanking.
Did you hear him in Parliament talking about the fish?
Not unless it involved him placing a 12-bore shotgun between his teeth and getting his toe on the trigger. I wouldn't have paid any attention.
You've not heard the Jacob Rees-Mogg clip?
No.
Can you play it?
I can. Hang on a second.
Teeth on edge.
But what is happening is that the government is tackling this issue, is dealing with it as quickly as possible, and the key is we've got our fish back. They're now British fish, and they're better and happier fish for it.
We have got our fish back because nobody will take them off us, because by the time they've gone through all the red tape of trying to export them and get them accepted over the other side of the channel in the EU, they're no use to anybody because they've gone off and aren't fresh anymore, so nobody's buying them. So they've absolutely killed off the British fishing industry. They reckon it's got about a month unless they do something drastic. Otherwise, most of the fishing industry in this country is completely gone. So yes, they're British fish, but they're no fucking use to anybody.
You know the saying, I have nothing but contempt. Mm-hmm. I think really we are getting to a stage now where the vast majority of members of our UK government really fall under that category. I find it very hard. Even Rishi Sunak, who I originally had time for because I thought that at least he had an idea for how to keep the country operating. I think the fact that they've still failed to acknowledge the dreadful hardship that a large number of hard-working people in this country are going through because they have fallen through the net, so to speak. The fact that he's not addressed that, I find, again, shocking. And I know some people in this situation, and my heart goes out to them. It really does.
Well, lest we forget, it was Boris Johnson's famous phrase, two-word phrase, wasn't it, when he was talking about the impact Brexit would have when he was being lobbied by the vast majority of businesses in this country, apart from Next and JCB and a couple of others who are all very much jumping on the bandwagon of Brexit's going to be wonderful. Most of them came to him. People like BMW, people like Nissan at Sunderland, anyone that exports major amounts of componentry to and from the EU, they sort of came to him with their major concerns about this, and the fishing industry and the farming industry. Boris Johnson's two-word answer: fuck business. I think that tells you everything.
That.
Fuck business. Look it up. If you've ever been on, you've been on Twitter. We're obviously all on Twitter. You've heard of Led by Donkeys, the campaigning group on there. They're the people that started off by posting billboards over legit ones in London and then around the country, which were basically blown up massive tweets from the hypocrites in government going on about how wonderful Brexit was going to be, and and I would never vote for Brexit. The people that then went and voted for Brexit and tried to tell us it was the best thing since sliced bread, basically showing up the hypocrisy of these people. One of the ones that they got the most coverage for was the Boris Johnson one. Look it up, because he absolutely did it. He absolutely said it, and like everything else, he's tried to cover up and pretend he never said or did. Oh well, I've been taken out of context. A bit like the Pickaninnies one. You know that one? That's another one.
Yes.
Another one. He really doesn't like people to mention the fact that he's basically an inbred racist.
When Prometheus brought fire to mankind in a tube of fennel, as you may remember, with his brother Epimetheus, Zeus punished him by chaining him to a Tartarian crag while his liver was pecked out. I talked about a hangover cure. His liver was pecked out by an eagle, and every time his liver regrew, the eagle came back and pecked it again. And this went on forever. A bit like the experience of Brexit in the UK.
Someone I follow on Twitter has just retweeted a chap who I've never heard of. He's an author, a traveller called Dave Sumner Smith. He's got quite a lot of followers. And he has put a tweet up that says, if a refugee manages to get into British waters, are they considered British, or is that privilege reserved just for fish?
Where do we go? What do we do? How do we stop this? I think this is what we need to be doing. We need to be giving our listenership some hope, some thought for, there's grounds for optimism. How might we overthrow this shower of twats?
Are we on to our thought for the day segment of the programme then?
Or do we have one of those?
I've got one here for you that I saw on the Sky News website this week, and this was the news story. Okay, this wasn't the headline. This was the only thing in the news story. It didn't have any other context, no video, no pictures, and it was up there for a good couple of hours. All it said was, Moderna's chief executive says the firm's coronavirus vaccine could offer protection for potentially a couple of years. That was the news story. I get the vibe that they're not even trying anymore. Yeah, probably good for a couple of years.
Yeah,
Excellent.
all
Fucking
right,
get it on the website, quick. Anything. Got to have a news break.
God,
That was up there for a couple of hours. Honestly, it's just...
Not like the BBC, where they would have had that confirmed in triplicate from about 3 different countries, 3 different people within those countries, 3 different disciplines of science would have gone through and told them. It would have been old news, but it would have been true.
Do you know, it's come to something, hasn't it? When on a morning when I'm waking up, my weary simian head lifts up from the pillow of leaves, and I switch on that little screen in the corner. First of all, peer at BBC Breakfast, and I go, more of the same. And then I flick over to ITV and I see Piers Morgan. I go, ugh, more of the same. And then I rest upon an episode of Cheers, taking us back to the 1980s. And I go, yes, the world is all good.
I think there's a lot to be said for just completely disassociating yourself from any news input whatsoever. I mean, we can't because we're here to do this every week, but I do leave it up to you particularly, Clyde, to fill me in on the news, because it just becomes too much for me. I just can't take it, and I just think there's nothing I can do about any of this. It makes me feel even more powerless and hopeless, so all I can do is respond in kind, and that's
we're meant to be lifting our listeners now.
Exactly.
Well, if you want an and finally, this news break just in: COVID-19 ice cream test positive for coronavirus in China.
I just seen that. Again. Put it in a freezer, quick.
They have. This is if you read the news story, they have locked down the ice cream.
Mr. Whippy has been sent a flow test. He's feeling a bit flaky.
Until next time.
Bye bye. Sorry.
God, I'm so depressed. I'm going to go lie down.